Hi, everybody. Welcome to our week 3 module, Researching, Organizing, and Outlining for our upcoming Career Informative Speech. There's quite a bit of information listed this week, so I wanted to take a few minutes to go through it just to make it a little bit more clear when you're navigating through this week's module. So if we scroll down to the very bottom, I'm just going to go through our upcoming assignments that are going to be due this week by Sunday, 11:59. So this week we are going to be working on an annotated bibliography for our informative speech. We're also going to be completing a Chapter 6 quiz. So those are our two assignments. You're also going to notice that there is a grading rubric for our annotated bibliography. So you just click on that, it'll open that up, and you'll have a better understanding of how this is going to be graded. Okay. So let's go back up to the top. So this week we're going to be reading Chapter 5, Chapter 6, and Chapter 8. Now some of these are pretty short chapters, especially the Introductions and Conclusions chapter, but I just want you to review these just because this is going to be the content that we are going to be reviewing this week. So these are just the links, obviously, for our chapters, and these are the resources, okay? Our first resource is under Researching Your Speech Resources, and it's an explanation, it's a video of what an annotated bibliography is. What's the whole point of it? There is another video. This is going to be very important, and you're really going to want to watch this. This is going to be a big help for when you're going to be completing the research and finding some credible sources for your annotated bibliography. Basically, the purpose of this is to go through it, and it's going to give you 3 credible sources that you could potentially use for your research this week. So please take a few minutes and watch this video. Also, there's a link to the library to the public speaking library guide, which is it goes hand in hand with this video. It will explain what this is all about. So by the end of this, you should be able to have a very good understanding of how to navigate the library database, and also to find some credible sources. So please take some time and watch this. Organizing and outlining your speech resources. This is just a lecture and the notes to help you understand how we organize and outline our upcoming speech. And then lastly is our Introductions and Conclusions section. PDF notes on how to create some attention-getting devices that we could use when we're trying to pique the audience's interest, and also when we conclude our speeches. What do we do? What are some ways that we can leave our audience with something memorable for an informative speech? Our upcoming informative speech will be due April the 5th. So that's not this week, it is next week, next Sunday, April the 5th, and that'll be due by 11:59. These are the instructions for the informative speech. The outline is also going to be due April the 5th. So the outline, this is basically right here, it's the skeleton outline. This is a template that you are going to be using when you are going to be completing your outline. So everything has a heading, right from the specific purpose statement, the attention getter, which is the introduction section here, all 3 of our main ideas with subpoints, with some transition statements between each main idea, all the way down to the memorable closing statement, which is our concluding statement. And then secondly, we're going to have our reference page, which is going to be the citations that we're going to be using for the sources that we are going to be using in our speech. So think of this as like our template. Basically, you would just copy and paste this, and you would complete this under each heading. And then secondly, here is an example of a completed full sentence outline. So this is what the final product should look like. Take a look. The headings are exactly the same. It's completed, right? Everything is in full sentence format. Notice that there's no bullet statements, but it's not the entire speech verbatim either. It is a overview. It is an outline of what your speech will consist of. So the idea is, by the end of this, you can use your full sentence outline to help navigate you through our extemporaneous style speech that we're going to be presenting in a couple weeks. Here are some speech examples, some videos of other college students that have given an informative speech. Now, these are not career related, but they should give you a pretty good understanding and idea of how the flow or how the completed version of the speech should look like. So please take a look at these as some good examples. Our annotated bibliography resources, these are the instructions. So you just click on here and it'll open up the instructions for this assignment. And also there is an example. So if you notice, this here is our first citation. Now keep in mind you can use either APA or MLA style. It doesn't really matter to me. Notice how this line, the first line is hanging with everything else is indented underneath. So this is how your annotated bibliography should look. So we have our citation here in either MLA or APA style. And then our first paragraph should consist of 3 to 5 sentences summarizing what the article or what the research is discussing. You know, what is it all about? I want it to be in your own words. So 3 to 5 sentences summarizing the research. And then our second paragraph will be at least 2 sentences letting us know how this information will be used in the speech. What is the relevancy of this information, right? Why is this information important for your career informative speech? I just want to hear how you are going to connect this research to your speech. So again, here is the second citation. So notice the hanging line, everything else is indented underneath. And then our first paragraph is going to be 3 to 5 sentences summarizing what the article is all about. And then our second paragraph will be 2 sentences explaining the relevancy of this research and how it connects to your speech. Okay? And then thirdly, here's our third citation, right? And so on and so on. This person has 3 sources, but you can use between 3 and 5. It's perfectly acceptable. All right. And then it comes back to our assignments. You just submit the annotated bibliography here. All right, I am going to wrap up this video. I hope this has helped. Please reach out if you have any questions or concerns. I'm here to help. All right, we'll see you online soon. Take care.